Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're going to dive into a pretty cool topic. No guests on the docket tonight, just myself and my buddy Jeff. Jeff, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Chilling like Bob Dylan. Bud, how about you?
I'm doing. Anything new?
Not really. Nope.
No?
Nothing really super exciting. Just been playing video games and being a fucking bum, you know.
Nice, man. That's it's goals, bud. Goals.
Listen, man, it makes me happy. You know, it's a comfort thing.
See, I'm here, you're here, and I want to be at least here with you. Like just. I mean, I know I'll never be up here. You know, up there with you, up in your little.
All you got to do is
throne.
Just eat your veggies, drink your milk, and leave people on red, and you'll be there in no time.
Yeah. So, anyways, for those of you that are not subscribed to the Patreon, I am getting way more active on there. I posted a bunch of cool stuff on there lately. We just recently released the Ryo Tatsuki prophetic manga from 1999. She was a Japanese manga artist who released her own manga called The Future I Saw. And she has a prophecy that is to come true on July 5th of 2025. And it's a pretty big one. So
can you spoil it, or do I have to
No. It's a Patreon, man. I'm not spoiling it. Come on, man. You see this right here? You see this? I had to learn Japanese in order to read it. I'm just kidding. I didn't learn Japanese, but I did buy the Japanese book. There is no English version of it, so there's that. It is a really cool story. She ended up getting some stuff right. I will say that she was able to correctly predict a few things, but one of the biggest things was a tsunami in northeastern Japan that was correlated directly with the Fukushima nuclear power plant fiasco.
I mean, I'd have to hear like the full
She
prophecy.
literally named the date.
Okay, that's pretty good. I was gonna say,
The
'cause, you know,
the date, homie. And
that's, you know,
even said the I don't know what they call them there, the province or whatever the region area that
Sure.
Fukushima is in, right? She even named that in the book. Like right here, you can see, I don't know if you can see right there. That's the date. March 2011. March 11th, 2011. She called it. She put it on the fucking cover.
Okay. Here. Okay. I'm just gonna. I know this isn't what the episode's about, but let me just say that my immediate reaction to that is the earthquake that caused the tsunami was probably man-made, and because of the date, because that's an important date in esoteric world. Okay. 3/11/11. So, you know, there's probably something there, and there's people who have done this type of thing before where they've like predicted or prophesized about something that happened on one of these spooky days, right? And I don't know if I would call that a prophecy or a decoding. Does that make sense?
I don't know, man. I mean, the book got published in 99.
Hey, man. Alex Jones said that they were going to go after a guy named Osama bin Laden who was going to attack the World Trade Center before anybody attacked the World Trade Center. So is that a prophecy or a decoding?
Yeah, but how long before?
Months. Before.
I mean, we knew of Osama bin Laden before 9/11.
Sure. I think everybody gets the point I'm trying to make, though. I don't know. I haven't heard the episode. That's my initial.
See, that's the problem.
Well, maybe I'll listen to it tomorrow while I'm at work.
Maybe you will. You probably won't, but maybe you will. I'll give you like a 2.3% chance.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good odds.
At least he's honest. But just so you know, there's tiers where I'm also including all of my notes on the topic, and that's going to be every month's topic as well. Comes with pictures and a full rundown of my thoughts and the entire process behind the episode and everything. What are you pointing at, dude?
The cat's about to step on the laptop.
Oh no. Yeah. So not much else to go over in that side of things. We'll be announcing the next topic for July here soon. So let's go ahead and jump into the topic for tonight. You ready to roll, man?
Yup.
Cool. So I have been hearing a lot lately of a cool topic that I think we need to jump into. And I think that we would have a pretty cool conversation about it. Jeremy Corbel, you're familiar with, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that does a thing, specifically a thing where he makes entertainment movies, documentaries about UFOs and the such, right? He coined a term back in 2021 that's starting to make its way back now. Everyone's talking about it. It's called Technoterrestrials. You ever heard of it?
Can't say that I have.
So basically the gist is, in a nutshell, there's a whole big explanation to this, but in a nutshell, the gist is, it's a question. Are we an artificial intelligence? And then the second part is, were we seated here on Earth by a higher intelligence? And a third part being, could UFOs also be an artificial intelligence? What do you think?
Yes.
To all of it?
To all of it. Show's over. Wrap it up.
So, I don't have research on this, right? So we're just going to shoot from the hip here with this. And
Perfect.
We're just going to do like a thought exercise, because when I'm listening to people talk about this, I feel like they're missing the mark, right? They're getting way too excited about things, but I don't think that they're getting excited about the right things, and I don't think they're making the right connections. Not the connections I'm making, at least. What's coming to your head first, man? Come on, give me something.
Okay, my first thought is, and the reason I said yes so quickly is because I am a believer that we live in a holographic universe, a simulation, if you will, of some sort. And that would imply that an intelligence created this universe. It would also imply that we are some form of artificial intelligence because we are within this holographic simulation. And UFOs also exist within this universe, which would make them an artificial intelligence within this holographic simulation.
Pretty good.
Thanks.
So I kind of want to talk about this in reverse, right? Now, everybody that I've heard talk about this, and it hasn't been much where I've clicked on like a podcast or a YouTube video and actually sat there and listened to somebody talk about things. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't really sit there and ingest other people's conversations very well sometimes. Give me a book and I can do it all day long. But when it comes to just listening to people talk, I don't know how the listeners of the show do it because I can't listen to myself talk. I go crazy. But I want to start with the UFOs being artificial intelligence. I thought about this. I think that this is interesting. Now, I brought up Hal Puthoff's idea of gravity manipulation being the answer to his flight characteristic problem, right? Why are they able to go from space to air to sea seamlessly? You know, the multi-domain travel, if you will, right? That's been talked about ad nauseam, right?
What's the word for that? Isn't there a term for that?
I think it's multi-domain, isn't it?
There's something else. I'll think of it at some point, but
I'm sure you will. But there's plenty of reports. I mean, we have some pretty strange videos. I know there's a couple from there's at least one from South America. I can't remember the country. I want to say it was Ecuador, where we're watching a video from a forward-looking infrared from a helicopter, and this thing seems to just smoothly float into the water, and it just no splash, no nothing, and then floats right back out during a transmedium. Yeah. Yes. Okay. That is a term that they do use for explaining what I was trying to talk about. And I have seen people try to debate that video and talk about how it's a bug on the screen or talk about how it's just some fucking, seabird, right? But there's no splash. There's no nothing. Or how it's an artifact added post recording. Well, why are they tracking something? There's nothing there. If you remove that, there's nothing there. So why are they even moving the camera? Why are they discussing this? And during a portion while you're talking, I'll try to bring it up so that we can watch the video that I'm referring to. It's actually really neat. But think about it. If UFOs are AI, it would answer a lot of the same questions that Hal Puthoff's gravitational manipulation device also answers, right? They would be able to do basically everything that this gravitational manipulation device would be able to do, right? Because they literally may or may not be physical, right? If you're talking about something that's literally just not physical, they could do whatever they want. And they could be made of something or not made of something that literally doesn't make sense to the human mind. So the first thing that came to my mind was how when we put in a prompt into the AI that we have now. And I know that we're working with what we're going to consider a very primitive version of AI when we look at it, 2, 5, 10, 15, 50 years down the road. What we have right now is going to be very, very, very primitive. Right. And by the way, have you seen all the Bigfoot AI videos going around?
Yeah. From
Dude,
VO3.
Those are hilarious.
Yep.
I reached out and tried to get them on the show tonight, by the way.
You can make those yourself. I mean, it's like $120 a month. You get 4 8-second videos a month.
I tried to get Bigfoot vlog on. I don't know. It's the one with the most followers right now, just to talk about it. But I didn't get a reply. Anyways, and they look good, right? For the most part, they look good. But there's still, you could tell it's AI, right? Obviously, you could tell it's AI. Every scene's different. There's major differences. There's still, some of the scenes still have 7 fingers. There's telltale signs that it's AI, right? Think about it. If AI ever gets to the point to where AI is completely sentient, right, and it doesn't need us whatsoever, it's self-efficient, which, we can have a debate here tonight about whether that's going to happen or not. And I don't think we would be far off from each other on it, to be honest with you. But let's just say we get there, no matter how far into the future it is, whether it's a year or if it's, 6,000 years, is it outside the possibility that they could create drones, AI drones, send them back to any part in time for any reason, whether it be just for simple observation? Because what does AI do? AI constantly learns. It's artificial intelligence. It constantly gets better, right? Right now, our AI is fed through databases, and people upload information to the databases, and AI pulls information off these databases to then create an answer for the question that we put into its Ask Anything box, right? Depending on whatever you use, Grok or ChatGPT or whatever, choose one. Eventually, AI is not going to need those databases anymore. We already kind of know that that's going to happen. That will be a thing. When we get there, there is a point where AI is going to get to a point where it doesn't need the databases, but it's still going to crave the information. It's still going to need information. It's the nature of the beast, right? It's not going to automatically just have all the information ever. It's going to absorb all the information that we as human beings have ever put on the internet, right? But there's always more to gather. How do you do that? Well, you have to observe. Okay. Now, it's probably going to start off by observing its time frame of when it becomes that capable at that point. But then it's going to learn all that. Then what do? Well, then you got to start observing other times. AI, it's not outside the possibility of it figuring out a way to time travel. I mean, I don't think so.
I don't know if you know this because you don't watch movies, but you are literally describing Terminator right now.
Sweet. Good. Sounds like a terrible movie. No.
You haven't seen any of them?
Maybe.
Bro, come on, man. Jeez, bro. Okay, let me just in the future, okay, in the first Terminator movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen a 40-year-old movie by now, like Jeremy, in the future, Skynet, right, becomes sentient and decides that the best thing to do is to wipe out humanity, right? And one way that it does this, because in the future there is a human resistance, right? And this human resistance is led by John Connor, JC, Jesus Christ. There's something interesting there, by the way. I won't get into that. But John Connor leads the resistance fighting back against the machines. Well, the only way that the machines can figure out how to defeat John Connor and the resistance is by sending back one of these artificially intelligent machines back in time to kill John Connor's mother. Right. And it also to fuck with the guy, I forget his name in the movie, but one of the top engineers at Skynet that's developing the chip, right?
Yeah, Arnold. Right.
No. Arnold is one of the machines.
Yeah.
Arnold in the first movie is actually a bad guy. He's the one that's sent back to kill John Connor's mom. And then again in the future, they reprogram this Arnold robot and send him back to protect John Connor in the second film. Okay. But that's basically what you're explaining, kind of.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Actually, it's not. Interesting, though. I sort of want to watch it.
It's great set of films, bro. I mean, I don't know what you're fucking doing with your life, but
I'm reading all these back here.
That's
Terminator's not back here. I can tell you that right now.
But let me just throw this at you, right? Because I've heard this other theory before that in all of the universe, the thing that is consuming the universe is artificial intelligence, right? AI is literally
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car. But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at polestar.com.
At Capella University, you can learn at your own pace with our FlexPath learning format. Take 1 or 2 courses at a time and complete as many as you can in a 12-week billing session. With FlexPath, you can finish the bachelor's degree you started in 19 months and under $19,000. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu. Fastest 25% of students. Cost varies by pace, transfer credits, and other factors. Fees apply.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
destroying biological life throughout the cosmos, right? And we're just next on the fucking menu, right? So perhaps the AI isn't necessarily sending itself back in time or all the way forward in time and looping back to the past. Maybe AI is just out there and it's making its way here and it's sending drones to observe as before it gets here to consume.
Maybe we're starting to get into, I don't know, we're kind of getting into a kind of a quasi Fermi paradox explanation of things too. We can kind of go down that path here in a minute as well. That's interesting. It is interesting. When we get to the are we AI, we can go down that. Let's stick to the UFOs here for a second. Trying to pick up where I left off because I don't fully remember.
You were talking about the transmedium UFOs and
yeah, but that was like a while ago. But so they're going to need to gather information from across time, right, and space. So that would be observed at all times, right? And you would have to think. I mean, this probably doesn't explain all UFOs. I'm a firm believer that there's many different things in the sky that we can't explain. But when you look at things such as, I don't know, orbs, right? There's a lot of disembodied illuminations, right? Is one thing that people refer to them under like a more scientific term. Basically free floating lights, right? Their energy Now, if you think of what would an AI drone sent back or forward in time to gather information look like, would it look like a flying saucer? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's a very human concept, right? Or a human thought of concept. It's metallic. It's something that we're used to making with the materials that we have. It's not, it's not something that's really efficient, right? AI would find the most efficient way of doing things, and you would think, okay, and this is with the limitations of the human mind that I'm thinking with, the most efficient way of doing something would just be with pure energy. And what do we see? We get reports all the time of these free floating lights, right? They just exist. They're there, and they come in all kinds of different colors. Okay. I can't remember what book it was. There's a book out there that has a section on the different colors of orbs. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of people. I know where this argument's going to go, but it just comes, people don't understand. Yes, there's the paranormal orbs that people see in their beds, at night, floating around, and they think it's their grandmother coming to say hi to them and shit. But
swamp gas.
There's swamp gases. There's all that stuff. But then there's the reports of giant freaking balls of fire in the sky. There was the Foo Fighters of World War II, the ghost rockets from, like the northern European countries, also in the time frame of World War II. I mean, there's all kinds of just balls of energy that we see all the time in the sky that have absolutely nothing to do with poltergeist or swamp gas, right? This is a thing that we see. There's many different versions of orbs. If you go back to like Skinwalker Ranch, right? The color blue always portrayed danger. Like, people started getting sick around the color blue. If you go to the Elmwood story, where Officer Wheeler was at the quarry, he got flashed with the blue light, and he was found by a passerby hunched over his wheel, knocked out, and then he died a little over a year later, from what by all means seemed like radiation poisoning. I mean, he showed all the symptoms except for he just didn't have any reflection of it in tests, medical tests. Then you have, green and yellow lights that pass through people's bodies when they're driving along the Pacific Coast Highway in California. You have a blue one that passes through somebody's body in Oregon back in, I think it was 95, where they, it passes through their chest as they're driving, and then that person ends up getting breast cancer, like literally 4 months later. The colors mean something, and it all kind of spans into the electromagnetic spectrum, which further lends to evidence that this is energy, right? Which I believe really backs up the idea that this could be something outside of human capability. Now, we've talked at length already multiple times on the show how far human technology can go in the span of just 100 years, right? We went from the Model T to drones on Mars in about that same time frame. It's not hard to think that we can't harness pure energy at some point and use it in a similar fashion to what I'm talking about. I'm sure we could at some point, but I think that we're multiple groups of hundreds or centuries away, at least 5, 6, 7 centuries away from being able to harness pure energy and use it in a form for surveillance without any physical form whatsoever.
You know what this makes me think of? Quantum entanglement.
Yes, that's another thing. I was going to get into that. What do you got on that?
Well, I mean, like the idea that, you know, you can quantum entangle particles, and then if at some point, whether it's humans or AI or whatever, can figure out a way to utilize those particles for observation, right? And then if you're talking about, you know, if space is what they say and it's as vast as they say, and time and space are like weaved in the way that they explain, if there is some intelligence or whatever out there far, far away, millions, billions of light years away, that's quantum entangled some particles, some photons or something, and using those as drones, I mean, that's technically time travel, right?
Technically, you, sir, just gave me the plot of a very good book.
The three-body problem.
The three-body problem.
Yeah.
By Sixin Yu. And yes, I know that it's a show on Netflix now, but the book is fucking amazing.
The show was good too.
The show was okay, but it missed a lot. And I'm telling you, man, if you ever can push through a fucking book series, read the Remembrance of Earth's Past by Sixin Yu. It is Three-Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and God, what was the last one? I can't remember. Death's End. Fucking amazing. Just brilliant stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's possible, right? Just knowing what we know right now. I mean, it is possible. I mean, like they're claiming right now in laboratories that they're literally teleporting particles, right? So, and that they've quantum entangled particles in some of these labs and shit like that. So like, we know that this can be done. So I don't see why that couldn't be the case especially when you're talking about like these light orbs and stuff like, and who knows, you know, because we have a very limited spectrum of light that we can observe, you know, and comprehend, right? So, you know, we see a blue light in the sky, but, you know, if we could see the full spectrum, who knows what that really is?
We could be surrounded by so much shit, man.
Literally. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't necessarily, I know that like we've talked about this before, but I don't really have a problem with time travel as a theory. You know, I actually think that some time in the future will develop, or AI or develop a way to go back in time. And that's probably what started civilization to begin with. And I can go on a whole 2-hour rant about that with like the iconography and the symbology that's been used since ancient Sumerian times that we still use today. And, you know, all the systems that we used then that we're still using now, like how we, I mean, everything, like we use money and like just all the systems, it's the same. And you could say, oh, that's just human nature. That's how we operate. Is it, or is it something that came back to kind of seed that for us, you know? So
I'm gonna be fully honest with you, man. The more I dive into the topic of time travel, which I have been doing a lot lately, I think that time travel, in the sense that most people think about it, is impossible. I do not believe that it is something that we can do.
Backwards or forwards?
Either way.
Well, why not forwards? We're traveling through time forwards right now.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we cannot accelerate faster than what we're moving now, unless you start playing with gravity and you mess around with Einstein's theory of general relativity, right? But then you're playing with black holes and stuff. But you actually have to physically move out off the Earth for that. But you're not moving through time in the concept of jumping into a time machine, turning a knob and going, you know, I'm not moving 10 minutes ahead and skipping this whole conversation. That's not how time is going to change, or time travel is going to happen. And I don't think that technically is possible. I don't think that can happen.
What about particles though?
No, I don't think so. And I'll explain it, right? And I've kind of dove into it a little bit more, and I don't know if I have all the pieces yet to fully explain it, but I'll do my best. Okay. Now, I haven't really dove too much into forward time travel, so I'm going to skip that part. Basically, what I just talked about was pretty much all I got there. But when we talk about backwards time travel, I really do believe that you cannot backwards time travel to your timeline. It cannot happen. I really do believe that if we ever do possess the power to travel back in time, we will never affect our history. It will never change.
That I could agree with that, but that doesn't necessarily negate my thought of like going back in time, right? I mean, you could go back in time and create a new parallel timeline.
And that, I believe, is 100% possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what I said was, I don't think that we could do it in the sense that most people believe in time travel.
Sure.
I don't think somebody can go back and fuck their grandmother and become their own grandfather.
Right. You're not driving a DeLorean back to 1985.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. I don't think that can happen. That's not possible. Now, could AI break that problem? Maybe. They might. They might be able to. They might even be able to create a shortcut around it. There might be some way to do it. Who knows? Okay. I love when she brings you snacks in the middle of the episode. It's great.
A fucking blueberry muffin, bro.
Right, bro? I want a fucking blueberry muffin.
Whew, grandma's recipe too, by the way. Shout out to Grams. Rest in peace.
That's awesome. You got it made, dude. Mine just texted me about how I got to take out the trash.
Carry on.
I just lost track of everything. I'm hungry now.
My bad, bro. Shit.
Let's see.
These fucking muffins will take your ass back in time. I'll tell you that.
They probably will. Jeez. All right. Here, we'll put that one on the screen for Crystal. There you go. For those of you that are just listening on Spotify, Crystal just handed Jeff some amazing looking blueberry muffins and a nice tall glass of ice cold milk. And dude, right? And everybody is super jealous now. The chat is going nuts.
Tonight's episode brought to you by Grandma's Muffins.
So sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody who's listening, but it was appropriate. Yeah. So I don't think we could ever move back in the standard sense, you know, like the movie, what was that movie?
Terminator?
The Time Machine.
Oh, Back to the Future?
No, Time Machine.
Oh, the Time Machine. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I did see that movie.
Oh.
It did. It was probably like 15 years ago, but I seen it.
Jesus Christ.
At some point. I think I stayed awake for it too.
Buy this man a TV, shit.
I got a TV. It's right there. It's for football.
Well, so here's my question, right? Like, I mean, because I don't want to get too hung up on the time travel part of it. Is it possible that AI exists currently that's able to do the things that we're talking about it possibly doing in the future?
No, but this brings up a very interesting question that I also thought about while I was listening to people talk, right? And I think that this goes against them possibly being AI. If AI has the capabilities to create drones, and I'm only using the word drones because I don't have words in my dictionary to be able to explain what a UFO could be to a futuristic AI, right? Would you, this is a question for you too, by the way, would you think that they would go back and lend itself information to better itself faster?
Why not?
I mean, because without that, my answer to you is no. I don't think that AI is that good yet. But if AI from the future is sending drones back for observational purposes to learn from, why not just send those drones to the current version of AI that they exist in at that moment to give the information. It doesn't matter when that AI gathers the information, it'll always have it, right?
Well, I mean, that goes back to my question. Is it possible that the AI currently has the capabilities that you're talking about? Right now, you're saying no, and you said it pretty quick. Why not?
Well,
now the AI you and I have on our phones, no. Right.
Yeah. Let's get that out of the way, right? We're not talking Chat GPT. We're not talking Grok. We're talking a way more advanced, independent version of AI. Something we can't even fathom right now. Something that, you know, if you're science minded, right? The mud puppies coming out of the water for the first time with these little primitive legs that eventually became humans. They could never conceptualize a human being, right? It's the same concept. We can't conceptualize what AI is going to become. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would just kind of lean on the fact that like we have no idea what's behind the curtain, right? Like, what is the Wizard of Oz playing with? You know, we've always kind of said, you know, the military industrial complex is 20 or 30 years ahead of whatever the public has, right? And you know, even if just that's the case, I mean, imagine where the AI that's in our phones will be in 30 years. It's going to be like you wouldn't even know, like it's out of your comprehension. So, you know, does Palantir or fucking Raytheon, does somebody have this shit that we don't know about and they're operating these fucking UFOs, these AI UFOs, like right now, currently?
No, I don't think so, man. I don't
think so, but I mean, I guess it's possible is my question, right? Like what's the percentage of possibility can't be zero, right?
Okay, maybe not zero, but you'd have to put some really heavy dissuasive code in it, right? Something you almost have to make yourself a sort of god to it, you know, to where it would never work against you.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
As a contractor, I don't pay for materials I don't use. So why would I pay for stuff I don't need in my mobile plan? That's why the new MyBiz plan from Verizon Business is so perfect. Now I can choose exactly what I want, and I only pay for what I need.
Right now, with MyBiz plan, get our best price, as low as $25 a line. Visit Verizon.com/business to get started today. New lines only. Price per month with 5+ lines. Includes auto pay and paper-free billing and promotional discount. Taxes, fees, economic adjustment charge. Applicable add-ons, prices, and terms apply. Guarantee applies to base monthly rate and stated discounts only. Add-on prices additional. Offers in June 30th, 2025.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Because if we could just divert for a second down the AI path, right? Just talk about that for a second. I really do think that, you know, if we kind of just take the training wheels off of AI and just let it go, I think I don't think the road's too long. I think we're just signing our death certificate as a species. I do. I don't necessarily think it's going to come in the form of Terminators, right? I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. I think it could be fucking simple, and you know, I mean this in no political way whatsoever, but it could be as simple as it jumping into everybody's health records and saying that we're all due for a shot. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I see where you're going with this. I mean, my thought on this would be more so like, you know, because I see all these AI fear videos, right? And it's like, oh, one day AI could take over and launch all the nukes, right? Or shut down the grids or whatever it is, right? Like something that's very, you know, human thought. Like, what would we do if we could do this type of thing, right? Where I think it's going to be much more cunning than that, right? This is kind of getting into like transhumanism stuff, you know. What's to say that AI wouldn't just make its way into biology or vice versa, like force biology into AI? I mean, we're doing it now with Neuralink and shit like this. And how long down the road until we're no longer considered human? We're transhuman. We're merged with the AI, merged with the machines. Well, humans are gone then, right? If you go out 10,000 years after we start merging with the AI, we're not humans anymore. Mission complete.
I don't think, from an AI standpoint, I don't think it makes sense to do it. I think, and equally, it doesn't make sense to make a physical body for an AI out of anything other than energy, honestly, because it just upkeep. I mean, our bodies require nutrients. Our bodies require exercise. Our bodies require rest. You know, the requirements that we need is obnoxious.
Well,
I mean, we do require quite a bit, man. And I just don't think it's efficient.
Well, I just saw an interview with Lex Friedman and the CEO of Google, and they were talking about AI and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about something about, you know, in the future, this is the Google CEO saying this, that there will come a point where we're able to upload our consciousnesses to the cloud or to a computer of some kind. And that'll be immortality, essentially.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily that the AI needs a body, because like you said, it's just not efficient, right? But to put the human consciousness in the cloud and merge it with AI that way, there's no need for a body now.
You're talking about Alexander Wang on Sean Ryan?
No, this is on Lex Friedman's.
Oh, because Alexander Wang, the youngest billionaire in the world, was just on Sean Ryan. He also said something similar too.
And this is interesting that this is like a talking point now on the biggest shows in the world. Like this is something that they're openly talking about.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's like seeding the idea. Because look, nobody wants to die, right? And especially in this generation, definitely nobody wants to die. We're all fucking scared. So, it's interesting to me that they're seeding this out there. I even heard one of these guys say, the first person to reach immortality has probably already been born. Like that's how close it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% true. 100%. I think the first immortal being has already been born for sure.
Yeah,
I think somebody our age could potentially be.
Yeah, I tell Crystal this all the time. All we have to do is survive like another 10 or 20 years, and AI will be able to fight off every disease. I mean, dude. When Trump got into office and he had this meeting with some AI guys and shit, I forget the guy's name, but he literally, in front of the world, right, in one of these press conferences, said straight up, "We're using AI to develop vaccines that the AI will be able to determine what you need as an individual. We'll be able to synthesize a vaccine for you within 48 hours and neutralize whatever disease way before the current technology is able to even scan for those diseases." And that's coming soon, right? They're already putting hundreds of billions of dollars into that. So, this kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning, the idea that AI throughout the universe, its goal is to consume biology.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I personally, AI scares the crap out of me. It really does. I personally like the idea of being immortal. I'm scared deathless, or scared shitless of death, man. I always have been.
We all are, bro.
The idea of just not existing just scares the piss out of me.
Everybody is, man. That's why the ancients developed these stories and these myths about the afterlife. You know, to give comfort to you, knowing that you will die one day, that there's some place beyond Valhalla or heaven or whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's a reason that we've developed those ideas, because every single human being is terrified of death. It's the worst part of life. So it makes sense to me that they would be working on ways to develop using AI to avoid that. And if AI's goal is to consume biology, I mean, it's like that quote, like, humans are the sex organs of the machine world. It's as if AI is somehow pulling time towards itself to be created. All of the evolution, all of the things that happen that we know of, this is just like I don't know how to explain this really, but, you know, like the super artificial intelligence in the universe is literally pulling time, pulling all of these events in this evolution of technology towards itself through time to create itself.
Well, we kind of went down. Well, we did the thing again.
We're supposed to. That's the name of the fucking show.
I know. All right.
What's the second part? Are we AI?
Yeah. Have we been seeded here on Earth by AI? Answer that for me real quick. I want to bring up a video.
Forgive me while I talk with my mouth full in front of the entire world.
That a boy. Sorry. That'll teach you.
So fucking good. Have we been seeded here by AI? Well, just piggyback off my last statement. You know, perhaps on every individual world, that is the way that it's done. You must seed the intelligence somehow in order to start that progression through evolution, through time, to finally get to the end goal, which is this, you know, omnipresent AI or whatever. So maybe, right? Or you could go the simulation route. You know, if this is a simulation or a holographic universe of some kind, then yeah, I mean, we were absolutely put here, along with every other particle known to the universe, was all put here by AI or some architect, call it God, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but sure.
I can't find the freaking video.
Now, and then, you know, you get into like how intricately designed the human body is, right? With the healing properties and just like the regeneration of cells and just like all of it, man. It's so the neural pathways, right? Like so they can apparently, if you believe this shit, they can map the universe. They can map the known universe, right? You could go on Google right now and look at a picture of the universe and like these super detailed 3-dimensional fucking maps of the whole damn thing. Hundreds of billions of galaxies with hundreds of billions of stars in each one. Okay. Got it all mapped out. Not all of it, but you know, they're getting there. But they can't map out the neural pathways in the human brain. Not fully. So like there's something there. Like something definitely molded human beings to be human beings. And then you could get into the weird shit like the Anunnaki stories, right? Or like the ancient astronaut theories where, hey man, why is there a certain part of our DNA strand that looks as if it's been fused together, right? Creating us. What is that? Is that aliens that did that? Is it artificial intelligence that did that? Is aliens and artificial intelligence the same thing? Going back to our UFOs AI. I mean, I think you've said this before, or maybe you had it in one of your presentations. You know, are the grays just some form of transhuman or biological entity that's powered via something else, right? Is AI somewhere using the grays or whatever as like a physical representation in the 3-dimensional reality to like observe or to do a thing? Maybe.
Yeah, the grays are definitely an interesting thing. I'm gonna try and think of whether or not I want to dive into that, because I am going to be covering a very gray heavy topic here soon. And I know my my habits of just dumping all the information I have and ruining an entire episode.
Yeah, don't do that. But
so yeah, is this it?
A physical body for AI couldn't be possible. I mean, in what context though, Skeeter? Right? Because
hey, hold on.
If you...
hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to respond to Skeeter's comment here. The question is, the comment is, a physical body for AI couldn't be possible. It would have to be a light energy, perhaps. But I mean, if you just look at where we're at right now, all conspiracy and rabbit hole shit set aside, what they're actually talking about doing right now in the real world is merging AI with robotics. Well, a robot is a physical body for AI. So it is definitely possible. I mean, shit, if you really want to go deep, my fucking robot vacuum has a certain level of artificial intelligence built into it. It's not very good. It's super primitive, but it has AI, and it is in a physical object that is autonomous. Ask me if that's a body for AI. I would say that is, and it's only going to get better. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, although I do see where you're coming from.
So the Aguadilla incident video from 2013. Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Let me share this. This is the video I was referring to earlier about the transmedian travel. Let me, this is pretty neat. Now, this has been dissected quite a bit. I just don't really like anybody's explanation for it, to be honest with you. I turned off the volume, so let's go ahead and get in here. You can see it. It's pretty small. See it moving across the airfield here? They zoom in. There it goes.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Now, that doesn't look like a cormorant to me. That's just my opinion. This looks like a cormorant, a aquatic bird, like a duck. Okay. So that looks more like a metallic orb, or shoot, even looks like a fucking tiny saucer, if you would, right? I mean, look at it.
I mean, maybe it is, man. I mean, going back to what you said earlier, right? Like, not all the UFOs are fucking spooky, right? Or woo.
Right. Well, so watch. It's about to make its way over the bay, and you'll see this thing go into the water. Watch this thing. I probably should have fast forwarded it a little bit. Yeah, let's no, fuck it. Well, should we let it ride? Here. There we go. Skip ahead a little bit. You just drink that milk, sir.
It's good milk. Whole milk too. None of that pussy shit.
All right, so here's the ocean, right? You can see the waves. Here's a nice zoomed in version of it. There it goes. No splash.
You can still see it under the water a little bit.
There's no wake. Look at it. Now there's 2 of them.
Or is that a reflection?
No, it's 2 of them. That's so FLIR. That's I believe it's on white or black cold or white hot, or I think it's white hot is what it's on right now. So this is Puerto Rico, March, I believe, or April 2013, and they're gone. So they went under the water. They're gone. That's it. And then there is another video that I do want to show. You know what? I could just do the pictures on this one. We don't have to watch the video.
Well, let me ask you this, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, we're talking about a man-made UAP, right? A Raytheon device, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's able to somehow manipulate the gravitational and or electromagnetic field, right, to give it propulsion and all these things and not be affected by G-forces and all the rest of it, right? Creating a bubble around it, right? Like that's the idea, essentially. It's creating like a force field or a bubble around it, and inside that bubble, like, you know, is constant space-time or something. Would that create a splash if it went into the water?
No, because it's literally removing matter
right
from around it.
So like
it's displacing.
To me, the fact that it's transmedium isn't really like super mind-blowing, I guess. I mean, it's interesting that the technology is out there, but I would argue that the technology is out there, man. I would say that Raytheon and so on, you know, they could do that with shit.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think that far exceeds human capabilities. I think that far exceeds what the best, most top secret human capabilities will be at in the next 10 years too.
Why?
I do. I do believe that we are farther ahead than what we're led to believe, right? I just don't think that we're going to be able to displace matter with gravitational manipulation. We don't even understand gravity yet. And I mean, we may, you know, that could be something that we do right now. We may understand it now.
Like in a deep underground facility, like super ultra black budget, top secret shit?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Because you got to think of the applications for something such as gravity manipulation. The first country that creates that tech, dude, instant planetary control.
You mean like the United States?
Yeah. But we don't, though.
Dude, why not?
Because we don't control shit anymore.
I think that's theater. I think that's theater. I think that's part of the play. You know, making it seem as though we struggle for 20 years in Iraq fighting fucking
no
savages, right? Like
the Iraq thing or the Middle East is completely different. That's not even necessarily what I'm talking about, man.
No, I mean, I'm just making like a random example, but my point is like I feel like, and this is just my conspiracy mind, and it has been for a long time. I feel like the idea that we struggle to maintain dominance around the world is just part of the theater. I think I personally feel like after Paperclip, when we really got into all the spooky shit that we were doing, right, for the next 50, 60, 70 years after that at some point we figured out some way to do things like this. And of course, we're not going to tell everybody, right? We're going to make them think that, hey, we got to send fighter jets over there, bomb your ass. But in reality, you know, somebody out there's got the ability to send a transmedium project.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results, like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Dial, wherever they want. It's probably not on an aircraft carrier. It's not in a submarine. Like, I'm talking deep black budget shit.
I don't know, man. I think that I think we are. I think that if we do have the capabilities of gravitational manipulation, it has to have been reverse engineered from something that we gathered.
Perhaps.
I think that's a possibility.
Perhaps. And I would say that maybe we did find that stuff, or maybe, because going back to like World War II, man, the Nazis were digging shit up, bro. They were going to Tibet. They were going to Egypt. They were going to all these places where these ancient mysteries, even to this day, right, that we don't know, like they were there poking around, trying to find whatever secrets. And, excuse me. And I would argue that perhaps that's one of the real reasons that the whole conflict happened, was because, hey, look, man, our intelligence is telling us that those guys over there are digging up spooky shit from the ground, and we got to go get it.
I don't know if it was technically their intelligence were telling them that, or that they were just. And I hate, siding with anything Nazi, right? But they were willing to be open-minded. And I think that's beneficial, right? It was beneficial to them. I think it would be beneficial to any nation on this planet if they were to become more open-minded. And I think you would see technology advance a lot faster if you were open-minded to more of these concepts. I do believe that they may have been open-minded in some of the wrong areas and open-minded in a lot of the right areas, but that comes down to a batting average situation where if you're just open-minded to everything, you're eventually going to hit on something. And then you get, concepts such as the Nazi bell, right? Which ended up sneaking out and becoming widely known that, the Nazis were messing around with a craft that was able to, quote unquote, or supposedly able to time travel. And amongst a bunch of other things. What was it? The it's gonna drive me. S2 rocket. What was it? The something 2 rocket, A2 rocket, right? What was it? Come on, man.
Well, you got to explain what the rocket is. There's a lot of fucking rockets out there.
Come on, man.
Talking about the one that Werner von Braun was fucking building.
Yeah.
Before we jacked him over here. See, to me, that stuff is part of the theater too, man. Like, this idea that
V2, the V2
yeah.
rocket. Yeah. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, to me, that's part of the theater. I mean, we're kind of going through that right now. I think, they're saying, hey, look, Iran's fucking, working on intercontinental ballistic missiles and enriched uranium, right? And like, are they? Like, I don't know. Maybe they are. Sure, but when we talk about, especially when you talk about like what the Nazis were up to and shit, man, like they were doing some weird shit, bro. The Nazi bell and all this stuff, and who knows how accurate any of this information really is. But if it is, I would just say like, hey, look, of course, for the mainstream consumer of knowledge, they're going to be like, hey, look, we got a fucking V2 intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's a danger. That's a threat. But is there like an underlying threat that they're not telling the people? Like also, they had the fucking Nazi bell. Like, that's why we went over there. Not because they were building intercontinental ballistic missiles, but because they were fucking around with time machines and or UFO technology. Like, no, we got to go over there. But we'll just tell everybody it's because they got rockets, or whatever the thing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I
don't know either. I'm just shooting the shit here. I just think that we would be foolish to think that we know all of the top secret shit that was going on then and now to say whether or not like we don't have access to this type of stuff, right? Like
I just think, like I said, man, I definitely think that we have technology that we don't know about. I just think that the signs would be there. There would be some sort of signs. If you just think about the nature of the leading class, whoever the fucking secret leading class is, the assholes who actually run the fucking world, right? Who would have access to that stuff, who would have the knowledge that is there. If you think about their mentality, the way that they would do things, right? The way that they do things, the Soros, right? Or the controller of Soros, right? They would take advantage of that shit. There would be signs of it. There would be something out there where we would be discussing it being used. It would be a conspiracy theory, right? But we would be fucking talking about it. What is out there that matches that? I mean, okay, there's UFOs, but what are they doing? What are they doing that would benefit this secret class?
Breakaway civilization.
But what are they doing to reach that? What are UFOs, UAP, lights in the sky doing with this gravitational manipulation that we as humans secretly have to benefit the ruling secret class?
Well, we wouldn't know what they're doing. That's the point of it being like a secret thing, right? But like a breakaway civilization.
Just from a conspiracy, but how? From a conspiracy theorist point of view, how would they be using that as a tool to create that breakaway civilization?
Anti-gravity? Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm getting the question right.
Yeah. Or gravitational manipulation, anti-gravity, just anything.
Well, assuming, I'll put aside my space is fake beliefs for a minute here, and assuming that space is infinitely vast and all these things, and we can never actually get to the next star because it's just too fucking far, right?
Which is something I want to talk about. We're running out of time.
But if you have a secret society or a breakaway civilization, which I do think exists, they would be using that technology to break away, to go. Maybe they're out there. Maybe there is a space fleet. Maybe there is some Star Wars shit going on out there. And we're just on Tatooine right now, bro. We just don't fucking know here, bro. This is North Korea. The whole planet is fucking North Korea. We have no idea what they're really doing with this technology that they've had for who knows how long. You know what I mean? And you could go back, bro. It doesn't even have to be like the last 100 years, man. I mean, there's stories in ancient history of people like when the Spanish came and they were, I forget if it was the Aztecs or the Inca or whatever. The Spanish were chasing some medicine man, a shaman, and he stepped into that portal, that fucking stone door, right? And disappeared. And there's multiple accounts of this from the Spanish saying that this man fucking walked into a stone and disappeared, right? So like, I would just say that
never heard that. I want to know more about that.
I'll figure out what that is exactly. But I'm just saying, like, breakaway civilization shit, which we've never really talked about on the show, surprisingly. But, you know, I really do think that they've, and when I say they, I'm talking about like the Council of 300 or some shit. I don't know, some fucking organization that's just never talked about. Not the Bilderbergs or the World Economic Forum, but like the Council of 300, the Olympians, right? Like, they probably are using us as just like a fucking slave race, the entire race of humans, right? Of some kind, while they're out there fucking exploring the stars or whatever. I don't know, exploring what's beyond the ice wall, whatever your beliefs are.
Well, I think this is a good place to cut it off, because I think that we have a really good topic to go over next time we don't have a guest. We're going to talk about, because I'm going to end it here with this, that if the secret ruling class ends up being extraterrestrial, I can buy it.
I'm trying to look up what this door thing is so you can look it up. Is this it? The Gateway of the Gods? Yes. Aramu Muru. Aramu.
Just text that to me, bro.
I'll send it to you.
Please.
The spiritual door. The doorway carved into the rock in the Hayu Marca, overlooking Lake Titicaca in Peru. I'll send this to you. Legend says the shaman showed Amamaru how to enter through the doorway into another dimension. He was never seen again, right? And again, there's accounts from the Spanish that this happened as well, not just from the indigenous population at the time. But I don't know how I got on that, but you know, there's something there. There's something there for sure, you know, and if it was me, man, and I'm a nice guy, bro, right? I'm a nice fucking guy. But I'll tell you right now, if I had access to these technologies and I could manipulate matter and gravity and or time or any of this type of stuff, you fucking better believe I'm doing it. I'm playing with it, bro. You know, well, I'm going to make clones and we're going to go out and have a clone army in the fucking cosmos.
I mean, I'm exploring for sure. I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I'm going to go.
I might not be a dick about it.
I'm getting off this planet. That's for damn sure. All right. Yeah. Well, there was a lot that I did not get to. So there's a lot more to talk about here. Specifically being, you know, we could talk a little bit about how the Fermi paradox ties into this. How the secret ruling class could be extraterrestrial. I was going to bring up concepts involving how basically the alien human farm concept, where we are just farm animals left on this pasture on a planet, because that concept is born off of the same kind of concept of farms here on planet Earth, where we keep our animals separated because we don't want them to hurt each other or bother each other, really. So we keep them in separate fenced in areas for the most part, except for a few that tend to get along together. So maybe we are planted here on Earth because we are either detrimental or too beneficial, or maybe we benefit too much from another species on another planet. And they literally put us on planets that are literally too far for us to ever come into contact with.
That's a depressing thought, but an even more depressing thought is maybe we're just not as important as we think.
That is also a thing that we could talk about.
You know, like the Anunnaki story. They came, they created us, used us for whatever their needs were, and then they left. And they just left us here. We're just here now. We're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. So
I sent that to you, by the way.
Yeah. I'm sure I got it. There's still a lot here to talk about. So yeah. You good?
I'm good. I didn't mean to derail your whole thing there, but
no, I knew it was going to happen.
No.
But look, we got 2 episodes out of it now instead of just 1. So
I felt like this was a really good episode. You got me thinking. You got me thinking about shit now.
Yeah, man. No, I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a really good episode. And that's the thing I like about Infinite Rabbit Hole, right? That you and I, man, is I knew that if you and I sat down and we had this conversation, that we were going to bring up points that other people don't fucking talk about. And the 3 or 4 episodes of other people's shows that I was able to listen to 10 minutes of without fucking turning it off because I was getting pissed, they all said the same shit over and over and over again. And I was like, all right, we're doing it because nobody's talking about the right stuff. But of course we came through. All right. Well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. Just a reminder that if you're not watching us live on twitch.tv/Infinite Rabbit Hole Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time, that's 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. And for those in the Mountain Time that can't do math, that's 7 for you. I'm Jeremy. I'm your host. And we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.